Do you want to know why I'd rather teach my students the actual principles and concepts of math rather than getting them to endlessly and blindly memorize formulas after formulas? It's simply because it's much easier for your child to not only understand and grasp what I'm teaching them, but also retain what I teach for a long time. Plus, it helps them to develop a passion and love for mathematics, and in return, put less pressure and stress on themselves. Now, what I love about this teaching method is because they understand the principle, the purpose, and concept of math. They are able to confidently apply it during the examinations and even their future careers. Just like how Wan Hen did it. His grades jumped from scoring a single digit in an examination to scoring distinction in just a span of 8 months. And Keith, whose grades jumped from an E8 to a B3. So it doesn't matter if the examination throws a curveball at them or tries to play those, trick questions. As long as they are able to understand the principle and concept behind it, they'll be able to answer the questions correctly and confidently. And most importantly, because they are taught to understand the principle and concept using real-world examples, it creates an actual interest in them to learn. As we all know, when we're interested in something, it's easier for us to fully understand it and want to learn even more. So it's exactly the same for our children. And as I will explain to you in this video in a moment on how we can turn your child to achieve this, turning your child from an ordinary student to a student with not only amazing grades, but with the passion to learn and develop the love for math. My name is Gary Young, and I'm about to share with you something in this video that has not only helped hundreds of students across my 17 years of teaching career to get a 2 or 3 or even a 4 grade jump in math results, but to help them achieve these stellar results while ensuring that they cultivate a positive learning experience that make them love the math subject, and in return, have much lesser stress and pressure from the education system. Here's the thing, I'm not any ordinary tuition teacher where I was an A+ student winning math championships since I was young. In fact, I was far from it. I hated studying when I was young. I was the kid that always messed around and got grades that were just about enough to get me to the next level. I grew up in a family where financial situation wasn't the best. My dad was the sole breadwinner of the family, working in construction. I witnessed how he worked very, very hard and yet earned very little. But one thing I won't forget is how much my parents care for me and empty out their savings just for my education. I fooled around until an incident happened when I was in secondary 2. I remember very vividly getting my results back and saw that I only scored 14 out of 100. Yes, 14 out of 100. And as we all know, secondary 2 is a pretty serious period in secondary school where our grades determine the rest of our secondary school life. I felt like I got punched in the gut. I knew I messed up. 14? Where can I go? What should I do? I thought to myself. That was when my best friend at that time introduced his tuition teacher to me. But to be honest with you, the idea of tuition didn't attract me. It was when he said, "This tuition teacher is very fun. You sure like it one." That attracted me. So I thought to myself, okay, go there with my friend and try. Why not? But the thing was, my parents couldn't even afford the tuition fees. But thankfully, my elder cousin stepped up to sponsor the fees for my tuition. So that was when I felt a new sense of responsibility. I knew that I couldn't disappoint both my parents and my cousin. They have sacrificed so much for me. So I walked into the tuition center not knowing what to expect, but just within my first lesson, I was hooked. Up till today, I can still remember the amount of fun I had in each lesson. The tuition teacher had a way to turn each lesson into an amazing fun experience. He had a unique sense of character and he was funny. He was understanding. But most importantly, he taught us math by helping us to understand the reasoning, the concept, the principle of how it works, using real-life example of how math helps us on a daily basis without us actually knowing. This sparked a new passion and interest in me. I was so excited to go for tuition every week. I couldn't stop thinking about what I was about to learn. I actually went from a student who dislikes studying and struggled to learn to a student who actually wants to study. I was so excited to complete my homework and show it to him. I saw him as an elder brother that I never had. And not long after, my grades went from scoring Fs to scoring As consistently. And he not only just impacted my grades, he changed both my life and my family's life. My parents had so much less stress, they knew I was in good hands. My future was much brighter to them, as though a ton of burden was lifted from their shoulder. And for me, I eventually went on to pursue my studies in math in university, earning myself an honours degree and eventually a master's degree in mathematics. And I became a full-time math tutor with the goal to impact students the same way my tuition teacher did. During the early days of my tutoring career, I was doing one-to-one tuition. I wanted to create the same fun environment and use the same teaching technique my tutor taught me. I wanted to create a memorable experience that goes on to create a lasting impact. So I taught my students the concept and principles rather than getting them to memorize endless formulas, utilizing real-life examples to keep it fun and interesting. I truly wanted them to enjoy learning with me, because I believe that when a child truly enjoys learning, that's when they absorb the fastest and retain that knowledge for a long time. And eventually, my students' grades started to jump, scoring grades that they could have only dreamt of. And because they truly enjoyed their time, not only did they fall in love with studying, many of them actually kept in contact with me even after learning from me over a decade ago. And it really warms my heart to see that many of them went on to graduate from top universities and pursue amazing careers, with some of them now holding managerial roles at a young age. Some even went on to become a doctor. And one of them who went on to become an entrepreneur who recently sold her company. But I have to say that I can't take responsibility or credit for their success. I'm just happy to play a part in their lives. Now, the reason I don't like to teach my students the traditional way is because I like to see our kids as a sponge. As we all know, in secondary school, our kids have somewhere between 6 to 9 subjects to juggle, sometimes even more. So just imagine having to memorize chapters after chapters, formulas after formulas for over 9 subjects. I'm sure you agree with me that even adults like us will find it challenging. Just imagine how stressful it is for them. So because traditional teaching methods are forcing many things into our kids each day, they either develop a mental barrier where they are unable to absorb fully when they go for tuition, or they just end up memorizing just enough before vomiting it all out during examination and end up forgetting what they have learned after completing the exam, retaining almost nothing to help them with the subjects next year. Now, I'm sure you agree with me that this is not only counterintuitive approach to learning, but it also creates a lot of stress and pressure to our kids. And as a father of 2 young kids myself, the last thing I want to do is to put unbearable amount of stress and pressure to them, especially when the education system is already stressful as it is, which is why I emphasize a lot on teaching my students the concept and principles of math with real-life examples, or what I like to call purposeful math. And the reason why I'm a big advocate and believer of purposeful math is because it impacts children's lives like this.
So Mr. Ang, during class, he's actually able to explain his additional math questions with simple real-life examples, maybe like ranging from like the smallest things like chocolate, bringing to math, and really helps us understand the concepts of math better with these simple real-life examples. He's also not like other teachers where compared to other teachers, he actually goes through each question in depth with you, which is compared to much teachers much better. So I think this is another of his teaching method which really is different and helps us to learn better.
Besides his teaching method, another thing I really like about his class is he likes to joke around a lot. He doesn't make puns, but he does make some funny jokes. He also shares like fun experiences that he has with his own family, like if they're going on holidays, what they're excited for, it's like someone's birthday. Yeah, so he's very friendly towards us. It makes us feel like less stressed out compared to other tuition centers, because some tutors can be very strict.
I feel that Mr. Ang's lessons are really helpful because ever since studying with Mr. Ang, I have been consistently scoring 80 and above for A1s in school. So therefore, I feel like his teaching methods are very useful for me because I am able to absorb and apply in my life situations.
Before I started attending Mr. Ang's lessons, my grades were around C5, but after attending Mr. Ang's lessons, my grades has improved to around an A2. So for those who want an enriching and fun A-math lesson, and for those of you who wants to excel in math, I definitely recommend Mr. Ang.
I also really like how there's like a lot of notes and for revision, especially like in the notes there are a lot of examples to like explain certain concepts and how to answer certain questions. So I feel like going to Mr. Ang's class, it kind of really impacted my results in whatever he usually taught in class would come out during exams. Like he makes sure that we're all quite prepared to giving us like a lot of different variety of questions to answer and to understand how to complete. And like this allows me to better and like more confidently answer some of these questions in exams with like greater accuracy. Okay, so I definitely recommend Mr. Ang if you're looking for a tutor who is able to explain math concepts in a more easygoing and fun way so that you can actually better understand how to answer questions during exams and to actually find more of like a joy in math than you actually thought that you would.
And the reason why purposeful math works so well is because we're using real-world examples to teach them. I'm sure we've all said this to our kids before, right? Don't just blindly memorize. You need to understand. That's exactly what purposeful math is about. For example, I like to use very interesting examples of how MRI machines used in hospitals actually use calculus to deliver images to see what's happening inside our body. Or how a Formula 1 car is able to turn at high speed, right? It's all thanks to math. Ever had a time where you struggle to understand something and then someone explained to you using real-world examples that you suddenly become interested in and perfectly understood what they are trying to teach? And not only understood them, but can still remember up till today. This is exactly the same. Using such fun and exciting examples to teach them help them understand the importance of what they are learning and automatically helps them absorb better and develop a new love for math. In fact, many of them actually went home excited to share with their families what they have learned. Don't you think your child will absorb a lot better this way? So, when your child joins me, they are not forced to memorize formula after formula. They are being taught using purposeful math to fully grasp and understand and retain what is taught to them. I want you to imagine two students going for tuition, student A and student B. Student A was forced to go for tuition. He was unwilling to go and see math as another subject and goes for tuition with the mindset of, I won't use this again in the future. Versus student B, who is always excited to go for tuition, excited to learn more, wants to perform his best and develop a passion for the subject. Which do you think absorb more and is more likely to enjoy learning and do better in the future? So, you got to think about this. You're now spending thousands sending your child to a math tuition that they're not absorbing at their full potential. So with every session they attend elsewhere, it's not about how much they absorb, but rather it's about how much they do not absorb. And with each session of drilling and memorizing new formula, they start to forget critical notes, especially with added pressure during exams. And really, it's not their fault at all. It's just simply a mismatch of the way they are taught and the way they absorb. And for me personally, I don't like to rely on hope. I don't like to hope that my children has studied enough for the examination and only able to find out if they did well after the examination result comes out. Because what happens if your child doesn't fully absorb what they are taught? What happens if they are underprepared for the examinations? What happens if they develop a negative mindset towards math and studying? What happens if they just see tuition as added stress and pressure? As a parent, no one knows and understands your child better than you. You are able to tell when they are struggling in school. You are able to tell when they are under immense level of stress. You are able to tell when additional tuition is not helping them much. You are able to tell when they are trying their best and yet the grades are not improving. And the only person who can immediately change that is you. Their grades, their future, is all controlled by you one way or another. So now you have a new choice. You can either continue doing what you're doing and sending your children to tuition after tuition, only knowing how well they did after their examination, which by then is probably too late. Or you can send them here and have them experience purposeful mathematics and have them develop a passion for mathematics and absorb knowledge faster than ever before. So, if you're ready to sign up, then just click on the button below the video to book an appointment with us. Naturally, because there's only one of me and I want to ensure I give the best attention to each student, there will be a limitation of how many students I can accept per year. If you're still able to watch this video, that means I still have a couple of slots left. But I can't guarantee how quickly these slots will be snatched up. So just click on the button below to book an appointment with us right now. After you book the appointment, my team will reach out to you to schedule a date to come down and take a look at the tuition center. We'll also help you better understand how your child can truly benefit from this, just like how many of my past students did. From there, if we determine that we are a good fit, we'll then proceed to enroll your child into the program and get them started as early as possible, as well as receive all these amazing bonuses earlier. So when you're ready, just click on the button below and schedule an appointment with us, or simply WhatsApp the number above the website to schedule an appointment. See you soon.